So here it is. Another great episode has come and gone, and a lot of content was in this one episode that I honestly felt like I was surprised that it was only a 25-minute episode because I sit there and was like, you sure it's not a 45-minute episode? Like, it didn't feel short at all. It definitely kept coming out with more and more information. We went through so many different things and stages happening here that I'm like, Lord, they made sure, like, we even had the opening and everything. So much was compacted into this one episode that it was actually really good. And we'll piece it together a little bit here, but the biggest thing was the fact of the differences. And to the untrained eye, a lot of stuff was actually well displayed. I think they actually did everything well as far as in telling the story, because the differences between the manga and the actual anime, although they might be jumbled up and moved around in parts, they're not like totally cut to the fact that it makes the story like a mishmash and you're sitting there like, this makes no sense. Great episode, great things happening, and I gotta give it for a lot of the characters. I mean, shoot, even Aizen showing up was like, oh my lord, it's Aizen himself. So we finally get Aizen back on the scene, and of course he comes out and once again in a big fashion, showing off his powers, if you will, in this case his spiritual pressure. And the fact that he's still in this chair, he's not even able to get up, move around. Even though they've unlocked his ankles, he's able to technically walk, but they can't have him move away from the chair. So then that way his spiritual pressure stays still. Through the whole technology speech, if anyone was confused, for the most part, they made sure not to cut off his spiritual pressure, so he still is able to access his power, but they just made it to where he couldn't display that power anywhere else. Like, he can't shoot his power away from him. It has to stay contained close to his body, and that's why he couldn't shoot down the royal palace. Now, granted, he probably could have if he wasn't set in this chair where he shoots down this palace and just have it all crushing down on Sarate. That would probably do more bad than good, because, you know, Ichigo and everyone's up there as well as the enemies, so it's a good thing that he didn't do this. But Aizen doesn't care. He's like, he's a means to an end. He's like, yeah, we want to get the big bad, right? Well, then why do we need to go to him? Have him come to us. But, you know, it didn't work, which was the surprise look he got. It's like, wait, why isn't this working? Well, that's because of the scientists have upgraded their technology to make it a lot harder for him to do anything here. So Aizen's like, yeah, whatever. So let's get into the differences. So first off, with some of the small stuff like this part, you know, it was pretty funny how they had her face come here when the captain's like, you're still alive? Why are you not dead? And then of course she's making a face. Now, at first, in the episode alone, it makes it feel like she's just making a face just to make one. But actually, in the manga, he was directly asking her, talking to her, and she made the face straight to him, as if saying, like, yeah, I'm alive, you idiot. But surprisingly, hey, they have come to their side to aid them to go and fight Yuaba. Another big difference was this part. When you had Orihime heal Ichigo, yeah, she healed everyone, but she wasn't the reason for him waking up. Like, the biggest thing was the fact that he was knocked out, sleep, whatever you want to say, and he woke up thanks to Yuriichi kicking him and holding him down. It's a shame they took away the shot of Yuriichi there. If you notice, her hair has been elongated to cover up her assets. But I digress. The biggest thing is the fact Ichigo, when he was shot down, like in the actual anime, he was shot by Ishida, and of course it makes sense that he gets picked up and then they heal him and he wakes up because of that. Well, in the manga, he got shot by Ishida and he was able to catch the arrow and like break it. Like, remember when I was saying last week how Ishida shot one last arrow versus a sniper guy to make it look like, oh, that he finished him off? Well, Ichigo actually caught that arrow, broke it, and got caught by Orihime with her powers and such. And then as he was getting into that, I wouldn't say net, but basically her powers, where she makes the platform, he bumps heads with that guy in the background with the green, and then he bumps heads with him, and he's like, "Oh, I feel a little woozy." Yuriichi grabs them, pulls them up, and then he bumps heads with Orihime and gets knocked out because of Kon. Kon like tried to like grab Ichigo, and then somehow because of Kon, it made him bump his head against Orihime, and then he was knocked out. But I think they did it really well here in the anime because one, they had to fit so much info into the episode, so they kind of just cut all that stuff short. And they did a good job showing, hey, she's here, she's healed everyone, and oh, she's hungry. And Ichigo's like, yeah, okay. And then they went to Yuriichi, she's like, yeah, I got this stuff going on, and then we see Grimmjow. So that segment was definitely something that would have taken like 10 minutes to talk about if they had kept it to the manga, but they went ahead and cut it short, got to the point, moved it right along. So it definitely did not change anything as far as for the anime for viewers. And finally, one of the biggest, like hugest differences was all about here with them trying to open the gate to the Soul King Palace. Now, for the last few weeks, I've been talking about how they've been in the lab, and it's true. All the main characters of Soul Society has been inside the actual lab, talking about everything, and that's where the scenes were for the longest as far as the manga is concerned. Well, here they get them out of the lab, out in the open, and even have all of Soul Society come. If you remember a few weeks ago, I talked about how they had an announcement where everyone please come to the R&D lab, and it was mainly that captains and everyone. But here to show like there's still like a lot of Soul Society still alive, Soul Reapers and everyone just kind of coming together, and they're outside. And then we get this nice speech by the main captain, and it's like, oh, okay, oh, a nice invigorating speech. Yeah, that didn't happen. The biggest thing that happened was they're in the lab, they're trying to get the gates formed, and as they're trying to get the gates formed, then Aizen shows up, and of course Aizen does the same thing as he did in this episode, but because he was dispersing so much power to take down the Soul King Palace, he actually destroyed the gate. Like, they were trying to make the gate, and then he destroyed it, and they were like, great, now we got to get more power to get this gate to appear again. And that's when they kind of do the same thing. So I understand why they didn't introduce the whole gate and stuff previously, because it does feel a little redundant. This will probably come up in next week's episode, so we'll put a little small spoiler, but it's not a big spoiler because it's in the main theme song. And in the main theme song, you see them holding orbs. Those orbs were supposed to be used to make the gate. Well, before this, a long time before this, they already passed out the orbs to hold on to make the gate. And then when Aizen shows up, he kind of destroys some orbs, destroys the gate, and then they had to like rebuild the gate again. And then there was a whole big issue about rebuilding the gate. Well, it was kind of redundant because it's like, well, why bring up the whole gate thing? Aizen destroys it, and then we got to do it again. And so that's why they haven't really been discussing and talking about the gate until this moment. This moment when they're out about above and they're able to explain the whole gate, kind of how it all works, and they have all of Soul Society watching them. It, to be honest, to me, makes more sense because then it don't feel like we're talking and rehashing the same stuff. Let's explain it all right now. We have the whole moment where everyone is trying to, with Basby, and we have Quincys, Soul Reapers together, and Aizen wakes up. He makes the same speech about Ichigo making it to the Soul King Palace before him, all that. So all the info was still kind of the same. It just was the structure, like I said before, kind of rearranged. So they did a good job, I think, as far as the way this goes. And of course, look at here, we have the captain glowing while everyone else is just like sitting there, standing there doing nothing. He's just sitting there like the sun. Bleach is so good. It's just so good. The graphics of Bleach alone has been amazing. And the story that they've been telling right now, it's been amazing. Now with the introduction of Grimjow, I mean, we're not that far away from actually having some really big fights happening. As everyone is trying to get to the Sulking Palace, the clash between Yuaba and the Quincys versus Soul Reapers is happening pretty soon, and hopefully they don't cut a lot of the content in the actual fights themselves. I would imagine they probably add more content more than anything else. So it's gonna be amazing, because once the way they've been doing the graphics, these fights are gonna be crazy good. So, and there's still that one moment that everyone that knows, if you know, you know, it's gonna happen. Of course, no spoilers, but if you know, you know. And literally everyone's waiting for it. But yes, regardless, Bleach is still great and it's amazing. We'll continue to talk about all the differences and stuff that's happening, and as far as our input on it. Overall, great episode and a lot of stuff compacted. It was amazing to have all such detail, as it's gonna be fast paced here shortly. But tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. But make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. If you're not subscribed, I mean, what are you doing with your life? But no, I greatly would love to have you guys around. And of course, you can see the full reaction to the episode on Patreon, and it's pretty good, I would think. But you guys take care. You be safe, and Lord willing, I will see you guys next time as we discuss more on the channel. Be safe, take care, bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.